Great morning, you ravishing viewers of the Gathering of the Griots show. What's up? It's Asada, your host for the Gathering of the Griots show, founder of the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. Thank you for being with us for another Tuesday morning. We got good energy today. I love when writers can write, and that's what we do. Black writers that could write. So before we start, let's give it up for the Female Solution. Why? Because that is the platform that we are here on. The Female Solution. So take a look and get in the know.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
All right, so the Female Solution is a litany of shows, one every single day, of a powerful sister bringing good energy and communication and topics to the table. 7 a.m., that's how we roll every morning, Saturdays and Sundays, I think it's noon. So anyway, let's get rolling. We know today is Tuesday, hashtag Title Tuesday. And so we feature every week is something new and more artists coming to the table. So let's look and see what we have today. I want to move my logo so we can make sure we see. Happy hashtag Title Tuesday. Expressions from Inglewood, Volume 4 is in the house. Corey Hall. Expressions from Inglewood, Volume 5 is in the house. My man, Corey Hall. Happy hashtag Title Tuesday. And once again, look at this. We have Igniting Ink by my girl, Heather Bird. Happy hashtag Title Tuesday. I love that. That looks so interesting. Then we have In a Next Lifetime by my girl. What is that? Let me look at it closely. Let me see. Shorter. That's right. Janetta Shorter. That's right. Happy hashtag Title Tuesday. Then we have also by Janetta Shorter, Magnolias Bloom in May. Happy hashtag Title Tuesday. And then this is a brother who's coming on the scene. He's no joke. What? That is an acronym for Wisdom Honors All Truth. Happy hashtag Titles Tuesday. He's also coming on with the Wisdom Honors All Truth favorites and his third one, Time Answers Hard Work. That's what the acronym once again. So happy hashtag Title Tuesday to you all. Big time. We're going to make sure we promote those. We honor our authors all the time. And then I just kind of want to let you know before we get into our no joke author, her name is Fannie Price. We love her chronicles. So let's first look, I'm out there helping, doing things for y'all big time. Look, the yard signs are going out. Oh, baby, we hit so many places. Look at me out there. I didn't think I could do it, but I did it, boy. We were out there. This is my crew. Byron Harden, thank you for your wife and brothers and your children for helping me get those signs out that day. We did that. I think that was Sunday, maybe. Yep, Sunday. So here they are helping me get the signs out. And then there were businesses that were so open to helping us promote. So we got Lynn Chicago Pizza, a Black-owned pizzeria right there on 61st and Everhart. And then I was loving how beautifully, like, her energy was the owner of Lem's, that a rib shop is a rib store where people be lined up like a cheese line over there on 75th Street. They was just so open. My girl Yakini let me put it in her yard. So thank you for that. And just happy that people just let us do that. Now, here we have something else that we did called Phone Book. Phone Book is a workshop that I do downtown at the Cultural Center on Randolph, where I have people come to the table, go in the phones that they have, because if you text people every day, you're an author. You write every day. Simple as that. So there were people who came through and I have blank books there for them to use, and they write their stories. They take a text and write a poem, a skit, a short story, whatever they want. And then they share it out. Wonderful event. Look at the people. Look at the girls. They were from Guatemala, from Mexico, from El Salvador. We just loved it. It was a great day. Oh, and this is in the wrong place, but these are the other businesses that supported us with the signs. Majani Vegan Restaurant, Soulful. What is that? I'm about to say Soulful Chicago Book Fair. Now that's me. Soul Veg, Brown Sugar Bakery, Bessie Coleman Library. There's Lems, The Sanctuary. So businesses were out there to support us big time, and we're so thankful for that. So thankful. Also, want to let you know the dog on. Look at the badges. The badges are ready, baby. The badges are ready for the exhibitors. We got those all laid out. So I'm so happy that we finished that. So ho, hum, ho. Yes, indeed. A lot is being done. I don't really know many events that do that much or put that much energy into the making of the event, but that's what we do because that's how we roll. So anyway, without further ado, I want to bring on a sister who she's taken the fiction realm by storm. And I love her work. I just love even the covers. So let's just get into her world, bringing on Fannie Price. How are you, beautiful?
Hi. I'm fabulous. How are you?
I am doing good. So happy to see you. I'm happy you chose to be here in the book fair. Let me put your name up so they know you're a fiction writer. Let's get that together. So, my darling, I have a ton of questions, a ton of questions for you. And because you have about how many books out now?
I have 4 books out and multiple short stories.
Okay, cool. So when we look at some of these titles, you
Yeah.
can differentiate
Which
for
is the
us.
short story and which is the
That's right.
novel.
Which is it? Because I just saw a plethora of books, and so I'm glad to see them. Before we go into them, tell us a little bit about you, background wise. Where you from? Are you a Chicagoan? Tell us a little bit about you.
I was born and raised right here in Chicago on the South Side. I
Nice.
went away for college for a little bit, but I came right back to Chicago. I love this city. There's so much energy and culture in this city. When you were going through all of the places where you have the signs up, I'm like, Limbs, yes, I be in that line sometimes, wrapped around. But yeah, I'm born and raised in Chicago. Love it here.
Absolutely good. We love Chicago, and I love the nationalism of Chicago. Like
Yes.
Chicagoans love Chicago. It is that simple. There's nothing else you can say about it. And I'm a New Yorker, but I love Chicago. That's why I'm here. Boop, boop, boop. So anyway, want to go into how did you even get into this realm? Like you started writing when? With writing these
Okay,
books.
so technically, I started writing when I was in 4th grade. We fourth graders in the school I went to, we had to read to the younger classmen's 1st and 2nd grade.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I started. Of course, I will never show anyone anything that I wrote back then. But yeah, I started. I've always been writing, and I never really thought I about publishing. And I'm in the bookstore one day and I look over and I see one of L.A. Banks' novels, and it was a woman who looked like me on the cover. So it was kind of like, if she can do it, I can do it. So that's how I first really got into writing.
And what year was that?
Whew, that's got to be like 99 or 2000.
Dope. Okay. And so you said if she could do it, I
I
could do
sure
it too.
did. And it
That's
was
right.
in my genre too. There's not a lot
Okay.
of black writers who do supernatural and fantasy and urban fantasy. So I was like, okay, I could do this.
Nice. So now why choose that genre though? Because it's to me it's unique. Your mind got to go to a whole different place because it's not like you looking outside and you see your subject matter. You have to
Right.
create. You have to be creative and get that subject matter. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, I've always liked scary movies and monster movies and horror movies. I kind of grew up on the Svengoolie with Bela Lugosi and Werewolf, and I always just, I guess I like the fantastical about it. So I always just kind of gravitated towards those poltergeists, anything Star Wars, fantasy, anything that was not of this realm.
Mm,
I really gravitated towards.
okay.
So it kind of fit that my writing would be that, because I started, I think it was back in probably 2011 or something around there. I found a
Mm,
couple of urban fantasy type novels. And I read Dracula, I read Frankenstein and all those when I was younger. So when I started reading these urban fantasy novels that would take vampires and werewolves and whatnot and put them in urban contemporary settings, I just fell in love with that genre. But the only problem was that most of the books, I didn't see myself as one of the main characters. And I remember I don't remember who I remember heard saying it first, but someone said that if you don't see yourself in the stories you love, write them.
Oh,
So that's
that's a
what I started doing.
Hercules. Hercules. If you don't see yourself in the stories you love, write them. That's
Yes.
taking responsibility. I love that. I need to write
Yes.
that. We need a T-shirt or something. But go ahead. Yes, talk about that. So let me ask this though. So urban fantasy, this is a new vibe to me, right?
Okay.
Meaning like, what is that? What does that mean? Urban fantasy.
So urban fantasy is kind of a mashup. It can almost be anything, but it's taking creatures that or storylines that aren't normally in our society. So you have your vampires, you have your werewolves, you have your dragons, like I have in After the Flesh and Burn. You have your demons. It can go dark sometimes. And putting those into modern settings. It doesn't always have to be a city. I've read a lot of urban fantasy that takes place in the country or some other place that's more rural, but it really is just taking those creatures that we all grew up with and bringing them into the present and spreading them around the community.
Gotcha. It's so funny. In a way, urban can just mean black. That's what it can mean. If you ask me.
That's how a lot of people use it, especially when
That's
they
how a
were
lot
on
of people
cell
use it.
phones.
It's so funny. My daughter has a book series that she came out when she was little called Urban Girl Adventures. And we were in a Barnes and Nobles, and some of the mothers there were like, really like, oh, urban girls. And one had a son, and she was like, she's going to do urban boys. And that little boy, this was a little white boy, he said, I'm not an urban boy. He wanted to make real clear. He said, I am not an urban boy. And they were kind of embarrassed. But to him, urban mean black. It don't
Yeah.
mean city.
Yeah.
Now, that's what city don't mean city. Like you said, it could be in rural. But urban kind of can describe our culture and our
Right.
nuances, no matter where it is, location wise. So I understand that. So now, would you say, like you said, going dark?
Yes.
It can go dark sometimes.
It can.
Talk about it. What does that mean, though, going dark?
So my Cambion Rider Chronicles series does deal with demons. So the main character, a Cambion, is someone who's half demon, and that's not something I made up. That's an actual terminology.
Okay.
So demons in themselves can be dark. So a lot of the issues that she deals with, some of the things that she has to come to terms with, is the fact that she has this, we'll call it evil, inside of her, and she has to deal with that. And that's, to me, that is all of us. All of us, I think, have the tendency, have the ability to be a darker version of ourselves. We just choose not to. Then in the third book that I have, where they go to Trinidad to try to get some information, and they actually go to another realm. So it's not all, vampires are sexy, and werewolves are sexy, and we're just kind of like fighting each other. I mean, they deal with real life issues, but in a fantastical type of way. Consequences, for example, the one that we have here, that deals with my characters from another series, Amina, and she makes the conscious decision to go to hell for her. She's a werewolf. It's a thing. She makes that decision because she wants to explore and see what it's like. And there are real consequences to her life that happens from that experience.
Mm. Now, when did the books that I just show, when did they come into the fold? Because I got like 8, 9, 10 stories up here, which we'll see. But what was the first book? Which book was your first?
So the very first book that I published was After the Flesh.
After the Flesh, the
So
one we showed before.
that's the first full-length novel in my Cambion Rider Chronicle. But one of the ones that you had up, Demon Hunt. So I have never been a short story. I've never considered myself able to write short stories because
Okay.
for me it's hard to boil down my plots and the arcs and the character development into, you know, 7,000 words or less.
Okay.
So I just shied away from writing short stories. And a friend of mine was publishing an anthology, and she enjoyed reading After the Flesh, and she was like, you know, I want you to publish in my anthology. And I told her, I'm like, I can't. I just can't do short stories. And first of all, she got me out of my head and said, stop saying you can't. Because if you put your mind to something, and this is for everyone, if you put your mind to something, you can do it. It's just, it may be difficult, it may be challenging, but you can do it. So she has themes for her anthology, right? Volume. She has these shades of themes. And the first one that she had was horror. So it's like, okay, it's horror. I can do this. And what I decided to do was take characters from my Cambion Rider Chronicles series. I already have them developed, so I'm not putting everything into the character development. I'm taking them and kind of like plugging and playing with them. So the first short story that I wrote was Sirens, and that takes my main character Veronica and her cousin Sigmund and puts them in a short story setting where they're fighting a siren. So that's the technical first story in the series, but I write them so that you don't have to read Sirens to understand what's going on in After the Flesh.
Okay, we like that because I mean, first of all, I love the graphics and everything. Everything's very intriguing. Here's Siren, and
Yes.
I would imagine that this sort of we see this woman's image on the front covers of these different books. This is their main character.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
and
it
the
is.
the Cambion Rider Chronicles. What's that about? Like you said, it's a real thing. What was a real thing? The Cambion.
So a Cambion is a real thing. It's someone who is half demon.
Got you.
And when I say a real thing, it's a real word. So I'm not saying there's Cambions out there,
Right.
but it is a real word that exists.
Got you. And so Siren, did you say that that was the first one in the
That's
series?
my first short story, Siren.
Oh,
Yes.
got
And
you.
it
Okay.
is the Greek myth sirens who sing and lure people, but this
Ooh.
one's got kind of a different tone because she does sing and she lures people in, but she is not beautiful, but when you're under her spell, you think she is. And then
Mm.
once she kisses you, you start to slowly go mad. And you're always trying to get back to her. So Veronica and her cousin Sigmund, who grew up together, you know, they're both Chicago detectives. So you know, we're not talking about young. We're not talking about, you know, necessarily very old people, but we're also not talking about young people. They're in their 30s. They're
Okay.
meant to be older than some of the typical urban fantasy main characters that are usually in their mid to late 20s. So Veronica and Sigmund go looking for, you know, they're on their beat. They're trying to figure out, you know, what's harming people in Chicago. And they go into an abandoned building, they're searching it, and Sigmund falls under the Song of the Siren. And Veronica gets there just in time to see everything go wrong. And now she has to find the siren. The only ways to take someone out of that song, that spell that they're under, and make sure that they don't die is to destroy the siren.
Got you. I just love. They sound so intriguing. Like fiction is not even my genre. I'm a nonfiction girl, but
Okay.
it's like these look like they're done so well, right? And I love that. Like you do short stories, so people can
Yes.
purchase short stories, or the full stories, right?
Right. Right.
Now, go
So
ahead. Do you have
because the short stories are connected to the universe, it's like if you're not sure about it, you can read
okay.
this and, you know, get your feet wet with 20 pages and see if it's your thing.
I see, but they're going to be able to get those at the book fair, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Now, do you have a website people could go now and buy these books?
I do. So you can go to fannypricenovels.net, and that links you to my bookstore. But they're also available at, Barnes& and Noble, Apple, Amazon, wherever you
Okay.
get your books.
Yes.
And the short stories for my Cambion Rider Chronicle are actually free. So people
What?
can download those to whatever device they want to read and read those and see. It's like my little gateway drug. I get you in with the short story. I get that for free. And then if they like it, they can buy the novels.
So are those at fanniepricenovels.net?
Yes, they are.
Okay, cool. You guys, I'm going to make sure that I put that down on the screen so that you can see them, because you may want to buy that now. You may not want to. Look, fanniepricenovels.net. I'm going to have that going across the screen as well as we talk so that you all can make the purchase. You don't have to wait for August 9th,
Mm-mm.
but they're definitely going to be available August 9th. So there we go. We're going to keep that rolling so that people can go and look at those if we want. Now, I want to kind of go through the books
Okay.
and the how they're connected to the overall stories and what they have, because it's so much. I mean, already Siren sounds so intriguing, right? It's like, oh, I want to see what that's like. But there are others like this book next to that I had next to Siren,
Yes.
tonight. What's the deal with that?
So Tonight is another short story of mine. It takes place between After the Flesh. So when After the Flesh ends and Before Burn, which is my second book, begins, we have the episode of Tonight. And this is also, I'll say, this is not something unique to me. I didn't make this up. The author that I talked about earlier, L.A. Banks, she used to do these between the books series on her web where it was little short stories. So that's kind of where I got the idea from. So Tonight is Veronica and Lachlan, who is the main male character. He is my dragon. They have just kind of got together. They're getting to know each other. And he's about to head back to DC. She's going to be joining him in a few weeks. Her and Sigmund have decided to join the FBI. So they're going to be heading off to DC. But before they do, she's spending a little bit of time with him. And he gets a call from a werewolf friend who is having issues with someone that she knows who happens to be a gargoyle. So, in my realm, gargoyles have the ability to become human if someone shares a secret with them. And in order to stay human, that person has to never tell that he's a gargoyle or tell their secret. And as we get into Tonight, the person that he trusted told his secret that he was a gargoyle. So now he has changed back and he is compelled to kill this person. So Veronica and Lachlan go to help kind of try to figure out how to save both the person who told the secret and the gargoyle, because he's not inherently evil. He doesn't want to kill this person, but it's a compulsion. So they have to figure out how they can save both people and walk away from it.
My question becomes, how are you creating this? Where in the world is this coming from? Like, there is a continuation of a story, is different facets of, there are gargoyles, there are dragons, there are werewolves, they're like, how are you creating this? From what pit in you is the creation of all this coming from? Like, how is that happening?
I like creatures that we don't always necessarily see in urban fantasy. So
Mhm.
I've always had a fascination with gargoyles. I think gargoyles are fascinating. Sculptors put them on buildings and they're meant to be symbols as protectors. Somewhere along the line, a lot of horror movies turned them into monsters, and I guess it's probably because of the way that they look.
Mhm.
So my thinking process is always, well, how do I kind of get back to the original purpose of some things? And like I said, I love gargoyles. So it's like, all right, how can I take this gargoyle and make it a protector, but also lean into that monster side?
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's how I came up with it. It's like, okay, so, if they have a secret and that secret gets out, then that could be they don't want to hurt the person, but they have to. It's something
Mm.
inside them that says that they have to. So it's just, sitting there watching TV, just like, huh, I could maybe use that in a story.
Got you. Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing that you can continually create, and we'll talk about the future in a minute.
Okay.
What about these puppies?
All
Carnival of the
right.
Lost.
So these are two of my favorites. So these are short stories as well. So
Okay.
Carnival of the Lost is first, and then The Pines is after that one. Both
How
of
did I
these
know
take
that? Look at that. Oh, I just put them together. Who knew? Okay, good. Go
both of
ahead.
these take place between Burn and Came Back Haunted. So Came Back Haunted is my third novel in the Cambion Rider Chronicles series. So Carnival of the Lost, this one again, short story. It was a theme. This one was humorous horror. So it's like, okay, how can I make horror humorous? And one of the things that, again, from my childhood that I used to always love to go to, there used to be this place called Funtown on Stony Island, 95th and Stony Island. And my favorite thing was the haunted house. Well, there was one time when me and my brother went on the haunted house, and it was actually, they should have closed it because all the lights were on. So as you're going through, you're seeing everything that comes out at you at night, and it just kind of like ruins that moment. Well, that's kind of where I pulled from Carnival of the Lost. I decided to, as part of Veronica and Lachlan's journey to become closer together, they have to go on this adventure together and rely on each other solely. But they take away Lachlan's dragon ability. So when they're transported to this carnival-like atmosphere, Dragon Lachlan actually he turns into a small little pony, a white pony with this rainbow color hair, which is the antithesis of what he's supposed to be, this big, scary dragon. So I worked in some nursery rhymes. I have three kittens that are looking for their mittens, and it turns out that it's in this funhouse type setting, and the monster that they have to fight is cotton candy. So it's horrific, it's
Hmm.
scary, but at the same time you're imagining them battling this roll of cotton candy.
Got you. I don't know where you creating this stuff from, and that's what I love about a fiction writer. That you have to your guns got to always be loaded with creativity, period, because you continue on, creating that. Now, what about Pines? Because you said that came right
So
after, right?
yeah, Pines is from, it's kind of from a combination of a few movies that I used to watch. They're driving, they need to stop. I believe this one I kind of took from Children of the Corn a little bit, but I kind of put it on its head where it wasn't children, it was adults. And they need to charge up their car. They decide to stop at this, place called the Pines. It's a bed and breakfast. It looks lovely on the outside, but once they get inside, they start to notice oddities going on with the people that are there, and they seem to be the only people staying at this bread and breakfast. They come down. There's a bunch of folks that are there, but as soon as they leave, the conversation stops. And of course, the people who run the bed and breakfast, they don't know that Lachlan and Veronica are supernatural creatures and maybe have supernatural hearing and these other abilities. So as they're exploring the town is empty. They realize that there's no kids playing in the park. There's no school happening. There's no one just wandering up and down the streets. So they come to realization that there is not something right in this town, and they need to get out. The only problem is that the car that was supposed to be being charged hasn't charged. So now it's pretty much dead. So now the question is, they can leave. They know they can leave because Lachlan is a dragon. He's able to turn into a dragon and fly away. But the question becomes, if they leave, then what happens to the next people down the road that come and they're stuck in that town and they don't have the ability to fight or to help? So they have to make the decision, leave or stay. And if they decide to stay, what does that mean? Because they don't know exactly what is going on with this town, and it could be something that's stronger than them. But they
Mm,
ultimately decide to stay, and it's really the decision. Veronica comes to that conclusion of, if we leave, the next people that come through may die because of this.
got you. When we come back, because we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I need to understand how Veronica got the way she is. What we doing? And what is she exactly? Because I know we just said Lachlan is. You said he's a dragon,
He's
right?
a dragon. He's a shape shifting dragon.
Shape shifting dragon. And then we're gonna find out about a little bit about Veronica, but there's always an evolution to these stages.
Right.
So we're
That's
gonna
right.
come that okay. See, I'm with you, I'm following you. We're gonna stop by that table and definitely get in the mix. So we're gonna come back in a few minutes. Let's just
Okay.
take a quick commercial break, guys, and we'll get a little bit more from Fannie Price, who's rocking with the Chronicles. We'll be right back.
The Soulful Chicago Book Fair, Woodlawn's premier summer event, returns to 61st Street between Cottage Grove and King Drive, Saturday, August 9th, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Join us for another celebration of literary works by and about the Black experience, featuring children's books, fiction books, and non-fiction works by local and international authors. The main stage will host an entertainment lineup second to none, with Kari Lemuel, Aniba and the Soul Stars, and the mesmerizing Moo Moo Fresh. Special guest, DJ Celeste. The community stage features a variety of family-friendly performances, such as DJ sets produced by IC Music, an organization that trains and promotes blind audio engineers. All this and more, Saturday, August 9th, free and open to all. Be there. Visit SoulfulChicagoBookFair.com for more information.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
All right. Few
All
words
right.
from my sponsors. Let's keep it moving. That's good. So before we left, I wanted to get a little bit into the evolution of your characters because Veronica, who's the main character, homegirl, what is she actually?
So Veronica starts off the series in After the Flash. Well, she thinks she's just average human Chicago detective. She
Mhm.
does know that she gets premonitions from time to time about some of her cases. She just thinks it's some sort of psychic energy that she has. Well, once she meets up with Lachlan, and so in After the Flesh, it starts off with her hunting something in the city that's killing people. She thinks it's probably some kind of weird creature, a werewolf, a weird shark, a weird something.
Okay.
But after she chases it down into the Chicago subway, and she's almost killed. Lachlan finds her. He kind of brings her back to life, and they start to work together, and he starts to come to the conclusion that there's something different about her. He realizes that she's a dragon rider, which is a great group of humans who have the ability to communicate with dragons. They actually ride on the dragons when they're in their dragon form, but there's something more going on with her. Um, he actually at first thought that she was the demon that he was hunting, and then it turns out that she's not. But he realizes that he thought that because she is half demon. So at some point in the story, he reveals this information to her. And from there, Veronica has to, one, come to grips that she's hunting a demon in the city, how that, that demons actually exist, how they've determined what kind of demon it is, and then she has to also come to the realization of what she is. And she has things that happened to her in her past. She came from New Orleans. She saw her mother kill her father. She ended up turning her mother in, and she realizes that her mom at that point had become a demon. So she's got a lot that she's dealing with. And that's why I say that I like to take my novels and incorporate some things that are familiar for people. Um, and it helps them get into that urban fantasy. If you just have it all about the fantasy part, then some people who are less likely to enjoy fantasy will shy away from it. But if you incorporate things that they're familiar with, then that helps bring them into the world. And that's what I try to do with my world building. And I also like to have characters that are complex. You don't just want to have someone who is that hero that's always saving the day. She has her own challenges that she's dealing with. She has to understand, what is a Cambion? Does that mean that I'm evil? If it doesn't mean that I'm evil, how do I fight this now? What are some of the things that I have? Because she discovers that she has different abilities now that she has awakened to what she is. So how
Mm,
does she use that, and how does she make sure that she stays on what she considers the side of good?
mm. Do you get flack for this subject matter? Sometimes, we could be holy rollers and you talking about demons and stuff. And do you ever get
Yep.
flack from our people? You
Yeah, I
do? Talk
do.
to
I
me
mean,
about
there's
that.
some people who, when I say there's a demon in it, they don't want to read it because they believe that demons, that there really are demons out there that exist, not necessarily in the demonic, creature sort of way, but in people's thoughts. And if you, the more you talk about it, the more you read about it, the more you kind of open up and listen to it, you open up and let yourself become influenced by that. And that's
Mhm.
fine. I don't try to argue with people when they say that, because we all have our beliefs. And if that's what you believe in, then that's fine. But then I say, okay, well, we have my book Raised over here, which doesn't deal with demons. This deals with werewolves. So this is kind of my back to my basics. Werewolves in Chicago. I was able to create, most werewolf alphas are male. This one is a female. They
Okay.
have a shaman in it, that the alpha and the shaman kind of work together. And you have Amina, who is she's the daughter of the alpha, and she's not rebelling, she's just resistant to joining the pack because of things that happened to her while she was in going to school in Germany. So, a little backstory about Amina. Amina is a werewolf, but she's also violist. That was a conscious choice to make her a regular violist in a concert. And she's in her mid 30s, and she's just kind of living werewolf life. And I have three sisters for her. It's Amina, Candace, and Arsinoe, and their name choice was conscious. I consciously looked through and picked names of African queens and African warrior queens to name these three sisters after. So,
Mm,
yeah,
nice. What is that word you're saying? Amila,
Amina.
not
So
Amina. You said something that like that they are. I'm trying to think of. It's a word you said, but I'm like, do I know what that means? I don't know what that means. Um, you said that. Go ahead. Yeah, let me. It's a word that you mentioned that they are, or something like that.
well, Amina is a werewolf. She's a violist.
Viol.
Um,
That. Oh, so
Violist, yes.
like playing.
Yes. So
Got you. That's
there's
what I
the
wanted to make sure.
there's the violin and there's the viola, and the
Yes.
viola is a little bit deeper than the violin,
Got
which
you.
if I could play a musical instrument, it would be the viola.
Okay,
But I
got you.
also wanted to give her something that you wouldn't think of a werewolf playing the viola. So I wanted to do something that, yeah, I didn't want to make her reporter. I didn't want to make her journalist. I didn't want to make her police. I wanted to give her
Mm-hmm.
something that you would say, wait, she's a werewolf and she does what? So that's
Yeah.
why I chose the viola.
We just love the fact that, you were like, yeah, she just in Chicago doing the werewolf, like she just being a werewolf. Like, like it's just a normal thing. I love that. So you have these, I think I saw these in different platforms for people. Does that
Yes.
mean that people can uh get it on the iPad, get it on their phone, get the regular book?
You get it on their Kindle, their Nook, whatever they like to read it on, that's how they can do. I like both. I love books because I love the feel of books. I love
Mhm.
the smell of
Yeah,
books. I just like
yeah,
sitting in a chair,
yeah.
by the fireplace or by the rain or something, just read me a
Sure.
book, right?
Gotcha.
But I also travel, so Kindles and Nooks make it a little bit easier for traveling because you don't have to
Gotcha.
pack 4 or 5 books.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. And I just, not everybody's at this level. So I just want to show people she's legit now. She's doing it professional. Now, here's the thing. This is what I want to kind of focus on going forward for the rest of this time is moving so fast. But you're not just home writing books. You're actually out there doing things. And
Yes.
talk a little bit about this. What was this about?
Yes. So speculative literature, every 6 months or so, if in the fall and in the spring, they do these deep dish readings where there's a bunch of rapid fire readers that will come and read poems, or they'll read a short snippet of their story that's about 5 minutes or so. And
Hmm.
then they'll have feature authors that get to read a little bit longer. So it's a nice way for me to, one, put my work out there for people who aren't familiar with it. We get to choose where we're reading from in the story. Usually it's about 15 minutes. And it's also a nice way for people who maybe have picked up my books. They can come, I can autograph them, we can have conversations with them. I love talking. I haven't done this for long, but I found out that I love talking about my stories to
Hmm.
people after
Hmm.
they've read them so that they can ask those questions. Well, what do you mean when you did this? Or I love them when she did this, or
Okay.
when they did this, it kind of confused me and I wasn't certain what was going on. I love that interaction with people.
Nice, nice. What about I just want you to define speculative fiction or speculative literature because I learned it. I mean, I know it because I'm in the industry, but I'm
Right.
telling you, sometimes even sitting here organizing a book fair, the authors be like, which one is fiction and which one is nonfiction, trying to
Right.
decide which one they are. I'll be like, what? Girl, nonfiction is truth.
Right.
Fiction is you make it up. But yeah, what is speculative fiction?
So speculative fiction is really, it can be fantasy, it can be sci-fi, it can be urban fantasy, it can speculative fiction, the more that I read about it, the more that I come to the understanding is that it can really be just about anything that
Hmm.
is of the otherworldly or has otherworldly aspects to it. So it
Gotcha.
doesn't have to be all sci-fi or all fantasy. It can be about you're just daydreaming about a unicorn or something to that extent, or it's a poem about that. That
I
could be a
see.
speculative fiction.
Okay, got you. Now, does your genre overlap into Afrofuturism? When I think Afrofuturism, of course, there's future, but it also, I feel like, gets meshed into the supernatural. And anytime we're dealing with something that is otherworldly, do you overlap into that world, the Afrofuturism world?
I do, to an extent. I feel like my Raised novel gets into that a little bit more
Okay,
than my Cambion Rider Chronicles.
I see.
And then there's other authors that do it better than me, like GT Naya. She builds a world that is, that Afro future centric, but also fantasy type world. She does it much better on a much better level than I do.
Okay, got you. Well, right now, you the best, far as we know. We don't know. We don't know nothing about nobody else. I don't know Jamal. No. We give them their props. So now talk about this, because I see some other authors I know, but you up in the lineup, honey. What was this like?
That was fun. It's the first time I did that, because it's in, oh, I can't even remember, Milwaukee. It's not that far from me. So it's
Mhm.
like, let me just go on up there, see what this is about. And you just get to meet people. You get to meet some of the authors. You get to, have those conversations with people. So this was new for me. I'm trying new things this year. That's one of the
Nice,
reasons that I decided to join your book fair. I learned about that.
nice.
So I'm just trying to get myself out there, get myself out of my comfort zone and
Yeah.
meet people.
Good. Well, we love your work, honey. It's going to be great continuing to support you and promote you. I have a lot, I dug up some things on you. So now
Yes.
talk about this, honey, Capricorn panel. What was this like?
So Capricorn, I used to vend at the Chicago Writer, the what is it? The Printers Row
Princess Row.
Printers Row Lit Fest,
Princess, yeah,
right?
Princess Rose
So I
Lair.
did that a couple of times, and in talking to people, I learned about this thing called Capricorn. So Capricorn is something that happens every February, around the first part of February. It's for people who are into Star Wars, science fiction, Star Trek, but it's also, for Dungeons and Dragons, for people who used to play it. It's for anybody who likes sci-fi and fantasy. So they had the ability for some of the vendors there to be on different panels. So one of the panels that I was on was pen names. And my real name is not Fanny. I should say my given first name is not Fanny. Fanny is the middle name, my middle name. I was named after a great aunt that raised my dad, and he wanted to name me Fanny for her, and my mom said absolutely not. She already knew how that was going to go down on the playground. So my first name is Jennifer, but I wanted to choose a pen name because Jennifer Price is such a common name. And I wanted to choose a pen name that meant something to me, which is kind of something that I spoke about on the panel. Your pen name is going to be with you through the rest of your life as long as you're a writer. So you
Hmm.
don't want to just make up something. You want something that's going to have some sort of meaning. It doesn't have to have a deep meaning to you, but you want something that you can live with. So for me,
Gotcha.
the natural choice was Fanny because as I grew older, I loved my middle name. So I
Nice.
wanted to put it out there, and that's why you now have Fannie Price, the writer.
Cam. That's right. That's right. Nice. Excellent. And so this was you doing a specific talk on pen names.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. And I'm so glad you said that Capricorn. It's not Capricorn
No,
now.
it's Capricorn. Yes. And they've
Capricorn.
been around for a while. This was Capricorn 45. So I'm like, I don't know where I've
Wow.
been since all
Right.
these years. But
Nice. Nice.
that got me into looking at for other opportunities, and that's actually what led me to the Soulful Chicago Book Fair, because
Oh,
I
really?
I found different websites that go through different conventions and different
Yeah.
fairs throughout Chicago, and I
Sure.
saw that one, and I'm like, that's Southside. I need to be in that.
You already
Yes,
know. I want people to know we do read
yes, we
past Hyde
do.
Park, south of Hyde Park. Like, stop playing. Gwendolyn Brooks,
Yes,
Richard Wright, my girl, she lived right there off of 61st Street. Her name escapes me in this moment. But so many writers, like, come on,
yes,
we're continuing that legacy. Now, this I love. I love when people are parts of anthologies. So talk about
yes.
this.
So that is Shades of Horrific Fantasy of a Horrific Horror. So this is the anthology by Right Volumes. This is my friend. She drops them. She usually drops two a year. One in like the July-ish time frame, one towards the end of the year. One is usually a romance, one is usually a horror, and this particular one is the one where I first released Carnival of the Lost. So in that anthology, I think there's eight different stories, six or eight different stories that are scary, but they will also make you laugh. There are some good authors in that, and my story was one of them. And then I decided to release it as a standalone.
Nice. I love it. I love that people can see the value of your work and your
Yes.
contributions to all of this. Now we got a little comment up here from our executive producer, Naima Latif, said, "Your stories sound amazing. What a fantastic imagination you have."
Thank
Big
you.
time. It's just
Thank
nothing else
you.
you can say about that. It's like, what, girl, how you creating all this stuff? Now, there were a couple of stories that we didn't get to really look at. I think one of them here, let me just move that and I'm going to bring this on. Came Back
Came Back
Haunted. What's
Haunted, yes.
yeah.
That is the third book in my Cambion Rider Chronicles. So in this one, because after Veronica finds out more about herself and she is learning her abilities, Lachlan, it's beyond Lachlan, and he knows that. So he's trying to find help for her. And the help comes in the form of Swain, who is the oldest dragon known to man, known to be alive, lives in Trinidad, and that was chosen for a specific reason because I wanted him to be, from Trinidad, from a nice tropical climate. So they go to him for help, and he agrees to help them, but he also wants something in exchange. You don't get to be 1,000 years old by being the nice guy on the block. So Swain has a daughter that's also a Cambion dragon rider, Aisha, and he's willing to let her train Veronica and teach Veronica some of the things that she needs to know, how to control some of her abilities, how to bring some of her abilities to the forefront. But in exchange, one of the women that Swain is dealing with, her son has gone missing. So he tasks Lachlan and some other dragons that come with Lachlan with the responsibility of finding Tariq, which is, his significant other son, while he trains Veronica. But Swain is also has darker intentions. So while Lachlan is off doing his thing, he's kind of trying to steal Veronica away from Lachlan in some not so nice fashion. Ultimately, I'm not going to give a lot of it away, but ultimately, Lachlan ends up in the Fey realm, and Veronica and some others have to go in and find him and bring him back, and they come to an understanding more of what Swain is and what Swain has done in the island that he's on.
Mm. We have another comment actually.
Okay.
Higher Learning Network, my girl, hey Zelda, says, awesome Miss Fannie, love, love, love your creativity and imagination. Black excellence.
Thank
No doubt
you.
about
Thank you
it.
so much.
Yeah, I actually love that you even from the graphics of your work, it ain't no question if that's a sister baby. Look,
Nope.
look, look, we not questioning the sister lips is looking like how we look now.
It's
And
how we, and again, all of this is intentional because I actually did a convention a couple of weekends ago, and we were
mhm,
talking about descriptions.
mhm,
And one of the things that I said is that I am very deliberate in my description because when you don't have a description, especially in this genre, the assumption is that it's a white person, it's a
go
white
ahead.
woman.
Mhm.
And I want it to be no doubt that this is a black lady that we are dealing with, that is leading this series, that is the main character. This is the person that you will have to envision yourself. So in addition to my descriptions, I don't necessarily come out and say, yeah, this is a black woman, but there are ways that we can get that across. And one of the ways that I also use is the cover. So if people are paying attention to this cover, they know that the story that they're getting into,
That's right.
you are dealing with black people.
No doubt about it. We
No
magical
doubt
and
about it.
mystical anyway. We magical and mystical as women anyhow way.
Yes.
We might
Yes.
as well, be used. Now, I have a question because I'm gonna ask about the future of the books. But before I get into that and what you want for that, I want to look at this can easily be something animated. I keep every time you say Dragon Rider, the way
Hmm.
I see those sisters on those dragons and kind of like, letting their body, they back arch and what, like, so do you have any plans for like screenplay for this, cartoons for this?
Oh yeah.
Come on with it.
This when I write visual. So that
Yes.
that you're saying, that's what I'm saying too. So
Okay, good.
I'm writing the fourth novel in the Cambion Rider Chronicle, is going to be released in December. But one of
Mhm.
the things that I'm also doing is I'm converting After the Flesh into a screenplay because I
I
very
love it.
much can see this on the big screen, on HBO, on Amazon, on Apple, on whatever. If we want to animate it, let's do what we got to do.
I
But
love
I
it.
can see Veronica out there on the screens.
No doubt. Like it's so clear, like, and it seems so intriguing. I'm a big me and my daughter, we really love Marvel and watch X-Men and do Avengers and all that kind of stuff. And so I enjoy when we put ourselves in the mix and we see
Right.
not only me, but even with like Wakanda. Look, stop playing. They did not expect it to make that much money.
No, they did not. That's why they released it in February.
That look, you hear me? They was like,
Hmm.
wait a minute, because we not only were impressed by the work, we were inspired by the work. I mean, here in
Yes.
Chicago, you can go to a movie theater in the black community, and everybody was coming in garb, drummers, stilt walkers. People were coming like decked
Yes.
out to
Yes.
represent Wakanda. So I was like, y'all done tapped into the beast. Y'all done really tapped into it. And so I love the coming of your work. I mean, it's kind of like, what's that guy, Ryan Coogler? That's his name? The movie
Yes.
dude, right? He's taking sort of other worlds and putting them in motion, and you tell the stories of your books so flawlessly. I just feel like it's a no-brainer for these to be in motion. And so we did have an author on a few weeks ago that does screenplays. So do you have a person yet?
No, not yet. I've learned how to write screenplays. I
Okay,
used
good.
to write them a long time ago. Even before I really was publishing work, I wrote screenplays. But for
Okay.
me, I need to write the story out and then, take from that and make that, subtract from it and make it into a screenplay.
Okay, good. Long as you know how to do it, because I was going to connect. She actually is a fiction writer as well.
Okay.
Her name is E. Ray Turanek, and she writes
Oh, I saw Miss
thrillers.
Tourette. Yeah, I
You
saw
did,
your one that
yeah.
you did with her. Yeah.
Yeah, good. So, and I actually connected her to another one of our authors who wanted to have his book written into a screenplay. So they're working together now. So once you're in the Soulful
Okay.
Chicago Book Fair family, it's a wrap.
I'm in.
Like,
That's
well,
right. I just get to
this
know
we do.
people.
That's right. What we do, all things literary. So when you get to the book fair, selling your books is a thing, but also like the connection to people in the industry is going to be a big thing. So
Right.
I love it. Now, so we got like 2 more minutes. What do you want to say to the audience, or what is the future of your books? What do you see for the future of your books? How do you want them to impact people? What's the big picture for you?
So I want a couple things. One, I want people to be able to see themselves when they read my novels, and not just necessarily Black women. That's why I have Sigmund, I have Marcus. They're part of the team. They're not the main characters, but I have built them up so that they are there. They're that role model. I want eventually for my books to be on that shelf and for someone else like I was standing in line getting ready to purchase a book, look over, see this book cover with this Black woman on it and say, "You know what? I can do that as well." Because I think that's where, not I think, but that's where a lot of what I do comes from. It comes from reading Octavia Butler. It comes from reading L.A. Banks. It comes from reading those other great Black women authors and saying, I can do this as well. And I want people to read my books, enjoy them, take away from what you can, and what doesn't vibe, what doesn't resonate for you, you can leave it. Not everything is going to be ingested. Some things just roll off your back and you leave it to the side, but you're always able to take away something.
No doubt about it. You have been awesome, Fannie. Thank you so much for
This
being
has
here
been so
today.
much fun.
Ah,
Yes.
people, make sure you come and meet Fannie on August 9th at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair, where she'll have all her stories. Thank you for tuning in to Gathering of the Griots once again here on a Tuesday morning. We'll be back next Tuesday with another great author. We're getting close to the date, but yes,
We're getting
indeed. You
there.
see, yeah, and look, make sure you get that website at the bottom, fanniepricenovels.net. You can get the book. You ain't got to wait till August 9th. You can buy the book now and then come and get it signed at the
And
book
get a
fair.
sign.
So that's what you can do. So peace, love y'all, and we out of here. Take care. All right.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jaref. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.